So I'm trying to tell you guys that credit is king. Forget cash is king, credit is king. Somebody with an 800 credit score has more buying power than someone with $100,000. Let's talk about it for real. Because credit gets you way farther. Cash will run out eventually. Credit is going to take you that extra mile that you can't go by yourself. Let's talk about why credit is important and how you can improve yours. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell so that you can see new content from us every Sunday. If you come here every week and get good content about personal finance, law school, anything personal, make sure you are clicking that like button so that you can continue to see content from us every week. So some of you guys are still a little skeptics about whether credit is king or cash is king. You're like, I got money, I got cash, I can go to the dealership and buy. Okay, that's fine. You can go buy a car with cash, and guess what? You're still going to have to pay for car insurance. And guess what? What's going to come into play at that point? Your credit. So let me give you a real life story. I was helping someone. They did exactly that. They went and bought their car in cash, and then they were wanting to apply for car insurance. And so, of course, car insurance factors in a lot of things: your driving record, your credit score, a lot of things. So basically they got a quote of, let's say, $280 a month. And then they did one of my credit card hacks. If you watch my other video about my credit card hacks, I added them as an authorized user to one of my credit cards where I have established credit, and it caused their credit score to substantially improve. They had the car insurance company run their quote again, and it went from $280 to $225. Tell me credit ain't got some power. So they basically went from paying $280 to $225 just on the strength of their credit. Now, for all those people that think that cash will get them further, you see how credit actually they saved them money every month? What's 280 minus 225? I'll do that later. So they saved a good amount of money every month just on their credit. So like I said, if you don't believe me, that's a real life example about how you can actually how credit works and how cash is not going to take you as far as you need to go. That's a little example. I'm going to talk about a whole bunch of examples to see for all those naysayers who don't think that credit is that important. It is. And unfortunately, it's not something you learn in school. And so I'm not going to necessarily hold it against you why you don't understand why it's important, but it is important. So stay tuned. So I talked about how credit is important as it applies to, let's say, the car insurance example. Imagine that multiplied to bigger things. If you watch my other video about real estate and using other people's money to buy investment properties, credit plays a big part in that as well. So let's say you have cash and you want to do some deals, but you can also have a credit line to do those same deals and reserve your money for a rainy day. Why wouldn't you use someone else's money? And that someone else could be the bank, right? If you have good credit, you can get a credit line and do those same deals and yes, you'll have to pay interest on that, right? That's fine, because hopefully the deals that you're doing will make way more money than whatever interest you'll be paying that bank. And so for those people that just think cash is king, you see how you can do a deal with someone else's money, the bank, and you still can reserve your money. And let's say you want to do another deal. Now you got a 2-for-1. Because you're not actually using only your money, you're using someone else's money because you have access to credit. And so, like I said, it helps build generational wealth and saves you money and doesn't have to go into your resources because you're using someone else's resources, and you only have access to that because of your credit. So I'm going to break it down how you're going to improve your credit so that you can be in a position to actually use other people's money. And starting from somewhere, if you watch my credit card hacks video, as I mentioned before, starting from somewhere so that you can build your credit up. If you've already had credit and you kind of like, I messed it up the first go around, don't worry, you can still improve it so that you can actually take advantage of the things that credit and its power can do for you. So I'm going to give you one example of how you can build credit and how it applies to helping you long term. So let's talk about buying a car again. Let's say you're able to buy a car with cash. You say, I don't want a car payment, I just want to pay it off in cash and keep it moving. What you can actually do is apply, let's say with your bank or your credit union, or even if you want to apply to the dealership if you don't think you'll be able to get approved. with those other resources, apply for a car loan. Even though you have the cash to buy the car outright, apply for a car loan because this will help you establish credit. And so that same money and hopefully you get a decent interest rate, even if you don't, for let's say for at least a year, show consistent payments. And you already have the cash. Let's say you already have the cash. Don't touch the cash. Get that car loan and start making payments and make more than whatever the minimum is. Because at that point, what you're doing is establishing that, yes, I know how to manage my money, because that's what credit is all about, managing your money. And I've also established that I can be trusted with more money in the future. If you pay with cash, there's no way to kind of decide whether you can really manage money, because it's like, oh, you got the cash, you paid it. I don't know what you would do long term. And so credit comes up in a lot of things when you apply for certain jobs, for car insurance, to buy a house, some things when you open a certain kind of accounts. Like, it comes up so many more times than you think it does. So you kind of want to have good credit, even if you don't feel like you're going to use it right now. You're going to have to use it in the future. So you want to, like I said, take advantage of those things. So even in an example, even if you can pay for the car outright, and I think the minimum for a lot of financing cars has to be $5,000 and above. So this is for people who have more than $5,000 to pay for a car. But if you can, hold on to the money and just allocate it every month and say, hey, look, I'm paying the car note. I'm paying. So now you guys can trust me for other endeavors. Okay, so keep that in mind. Here's a little fun fact for those of you that think that credit is not king. Someone with bad credit or no credit at all will pay $10,000 more on average than someone with good credit or excellent credit. You know what you could do with $10,000? So why pay extra when it's not even necessary? If you can do what you can do to improve your credit, why pay more for the same car? Why pay more for the same house? Why pay more for the same apartment, or not be able to get the apartment because you have bad credit and they run your credit before you rent some apartments? So why even do that? Do what you can to improve your credit now so that you can make those options. You can make those choices yourself and not have someone make those choices for you. Say, you can't have that because you don't have good credit. Another way to improve your credit is get a credit card. And I know some people shun credit card debt, and all debt is not bad debt. If you see some of these billionaires, they have a lot of debt. That doesn't mean they're broke. It means they know how to manage credit and they're keeping their money to themselves. So it's not necessarily a bad thing to have debt if it's a good kind of debt. So now I'm not saying go run up things that, are not important and that don't appreciate in value, but there are certain things that credit card debt has its purpose. So let's say you run up a credit card and you pay for it over a certain period of time, or you pay for it in full every month. That's building your credit as well. And so I would say apply for a card. You might not be at a point where you can apply for, let's say, a black card, American Express black card, but you can apply for a card. And it could be like one of those store cards, like Old Navy, or, those store cards where they're like, do you want to apply for a card? Target even asked for it. Sure. Let's see if I can get it. And then once you get that card, maintain it. Don't pay it late. Don't say, I'll pay them when I can. Go ahead and pay them when you can if you want to, because you'll mess up your credit score. And the whole point of this journey is to improve your credit. So take it seriously. If you're going to actually get a credit card, take it seriously. I've had a credit card since I was 18 years old. It was a Macy's store card that ended up turning into an American Express card later. And it was when I was 18 years old. So essentially I had no credit when I was 18, right? But I was able to get the card. And then I never had a late payment. And I managed it, and it's grown, and I've gotten many cards thereafter. But it started out when I had no credit. So it was with a store, Macy's credit card. So find a store. If you want to find a store that that you shop at, get a credit card there and start building your credit that way. So that's another way that you can help build your credit. Okay, so if you are still watching, make sure you hit that like button. I'm dropping some jewels for you guys to improve your credit. You want to see more information, hit that like button so that you can see content from us every Sunday. So let me get into kind of reverse. If you don't do these things, this will hurt your credit. So one of the biggest things that people don't take seriously are medical bills. And so unfortunately, we live in a country, the United States, where healthcare is very expensive, and you might get a medical bill and you're like, oh my goodness, I can't pay it. And so you don't pay it. And then it goes to collections. And then you wonder why it's stopping you from getting a house in the future. Stop for a second. take the medical bill seriously. So let's say you do get a high medical bill. What you want to do is be proactive about figuring out how to pay it. Call them up and say, hey, I don't have this money. Can we work on a payment plan? That way it saves you from getting into collections where it's damaging your credit. Call and ask them. Sometimes they have payment plans. Actually, they also, if you are in a certain a tax bracket, they have something called charity care, where certain hospitals have kind of grants that they can use to cover certain medical bills. And you can call and say, hey, I don't have the money. Do you have any charity care programs that can be used to apply to my bill? And you'll be surprised. Like, the worst they can say is no. But if you don't ask them, you won't know that it's not or it is available. So take those medical bills seriously, because you don't want, that's kind of like the little thing. It's like, oh, dang, it's like a burden on you. Like, oh, I'm not going to pay it. And then you think it's just going to go away. And then like it creeps back on you when you want to apply for a car or a loan or something else in the future. You don't want it to creep back on you. Be proactive about it so that it does not damage your credit. So here's another tip of how you can improve your credit. Have you ever used PayPal credit? So PayPal has a thing where, you can use PayPal as a source to pay merchants online or sometimes even in person. And you can link it to a checking account, or you can apply for PayPal credit. And PayPal credit actually gives you the opportunity to pay over a certain period of time. I think it's like if you got 6 months and it's interest free if it's over a certain dollar amount. That's a way that you can build credit as well. So they'll extend a credit line to you, almost like a credit card, but it's not a credit card, it's a credit line. And you can, let's say you made a purchase online. Instead of clicking on credit card or debit card, click on PayPal credit, and PayPal credit will pay them. And then you can get credit for it as far as helping your credit as well. So that's another way. Without having an actual credit card, it kind of limits what you can do, because it's not like a physical card you can take with you places, but it's still a way that you can actually manage your credit. And so they might have, if you go over the 6 months period and you still have a balance, I think the interest rate is really high. So you want to kind of avoid that. But if it's something that you can manage within 6 months, you don't have to pay any interest on it. It's almost like paying it in cash, and you can just get credit for it. So try PayPal credit as well. So once you actually get your credit in order, what you can actually do, another little hack is, like I mentioned before, you can add someone else as an authorized user to your credit card. And that way you can help somebody else build credit. It might be your kids. So now your kids, when they're 18, they have a great credit score because you actually added them as well. Understand that cash is great. Credit is better. We talked about why. Let me know in the comment section below what you're going to do in your future to help build your credit and why you think credit is king.